Hey, my fellow vintage AC viewers. So, back to the 1967 Friedrich. Um, I have been, for the last few hours, some precious free time, I have been cleaning and dedusting and pulling the half-inch of dirt that was caked to the bottom of the chassis of this unit up and out, vacuuming it, wiping it off with not too much water. Just trying to get the unit to look, better than it did. A few things crawled out at me. That was kind of fun. But you can see where the coils are coming down here, and there was a half, they were all caked with dirt down at the bottom, so I had to kind of dig that out. Really, for this unit to be refurbished and put back into service, it needs, it needs to be completely disassembled. All the components need to be pulled off the chassis as far as can be. Things need to be sandblasted and recoated and painted so that, no further rusting occurs down there. But in the meantime, I did the best I could without doing that full disassembly, because that is definitely a huge project. In the meanwhile of pulling it apart, things came apart, some old foam, some, felt backed with adhesive that was part of the guillotine style damper doors there that slide up and down to, create recirculating air, fresh air. Those would have to be replaced if you wanted to use this thing on a regular basis and have it function 100% efficiently. But in any event, so things are definitely looking a little better, a little cleaner, and for the moment this is pretty good. And over here you have the metal chassis box, the shroud that has the braces, since this thing is super duper heavy. I think it's supposed to have a logo on the back that says Friedrich, either across it horizontally or diagonally. I think I saw it diagonally, but I can't be sure. Anyway, that's about the one piece that this thing is missing. Over here, we have the bezel with the louvers that direct the airflow, and then this comes off, and then under here would be a filter, which there's no evidence of one, but there should be one there, I understand. They're magnetic. And over here is a very convenient how-to. And I have to say, the more that I examine this unit, I'm not at all familiar with Friedrich, although I knew of them, but had no Friedrich units and nothing vintage. But the more that I examine this and the more that I play with it, it's really apparent how high quality this air conditioner is. It is serial number 7S, model number 7S101-01960 serial. Seems kind of early. 115 volt, 10,500 BTU, 1330 watt, 11.9 amp. So, Friedrich Refrigerators in San Antonio, Texas. Texas is nearly wholly responsible for our evolution of commercial and residential air conditioning. So Texans made good products, and this thing seems to be absolutely no exception. One thing that's cool, and I figured out by looking at the instructions, is that this 1967 unit actually has this, when you turn the fan on, when you turn the unit on to cool and fan automatic, the blower fan itself cycles on and off as needed based on how hot or cold you want the room to be. And I don't know if everybody else already knows this, but that kind of astounded me when I realized that this unit from 1967 actually did that. I thought only brand new computer controlled wall units actually had that capability of shutting all the way down completely and then sniffing the air and then turning back on. But this old unit actually does that. So that's pretty darn cool, and definitely I understand why more now why this might have been this unit retailed for almost $190 in 1967, which is about $1,455 in today's money. So that is no small amount of money, and was clearly intended for a main room of a house to cool it. So that's pretty impressive that such an old air conditioner can actually do that. And the story on this goes, it's kind of interesting. I was bird dogging this. I had looked at a house to buy, and I saw this in the wall. And when the house was sold and I didn't end up buying it, I lived nearby, and I kind of kept driving by the house, and one day I saw a huge dumpster in the driveway of the place, and it was chock full of all the stuff inside the house, and I knew they were gutting it. So I just walked right in and asked if I could have it, and long story short, it took me a couple of months, and for a hot second I actually thought that they had junked the unit, and I was pretty dejected about that, because you can see how high quality it is. But as it turned out, they didn't. I kind of at the last minute I went back and checked, and it was hiding in some room. They had not junked it after all. They were just trying to figure out what to do with it, and the new owner of the house was plenty pleased to give it to me. So I was very happy to take it off his hands, and he was happy to have it gone. So anyway, that's where I currently am. I have to clean the louvers here, but in the meanwhile, I have a little bit more dusting and cleaning and wiping and hosing down to do the stuff that I don't have to protect. But in the meanwhile, I'm kind of waiting to test the compressor on this, because I want all the oil in the compressor to settle all the way down in transport. The unit had to be put on its back, so I have to wait a little while before I turn it on, just to be on the safe side. But I do know the fan works, and now that I've cleaned it a bunch, I'll just turn it on for a fan demo, and maybe I can even test the fan speeds, which cool control is for the compressor. You know, going this way, you can probably hear it click. Makes it colder. Yep, there's the click. All the way up to 17. Yeah, and then back, which I would think makes it colder. So I don't know, maybe one is cold, but that wouldn't make much sense. Anyway, cooler says go this way, go that way. So I would think it means this. Nope, actually that's not back. Cooler seems like it would be this way. That would mean one would be coldest. I'll have to play with that when I want to test the compressor. But this is fan speed. Air volume, fancy name for fan speed. So let's turn that on and see what that means. So on. So go. Okay. Nice and quiet. I don't know if it's going to come through as quiet on the video, but it's nice and quiet in person. Oh my gosh. All I hear is wind noise. I don't even hear motor noise at all. I mean, at all. There is no motor noise. So, that's one. Let's turn up the volume. Okay, that's faster. Okay, so larger rush air. 3, there's a little play in the knob here. Okay, I'm hearing a lot more wind noise now. 4, 5 different noises, and let's go all the way up to the last one. Okay, look, there's a little bit vibration. And that's at its fastest. That's still pretty quiet. I mean, without that chassis buzz noise, which might just be vibration from a dirty fan blade. That's still incredibly quiet. Wow. And that is a lot of air being put out of there. And I'm gonna put it back down to 1, which is super sedate and super quiet. So nice. Turn that off. And then coast down. And I don't know if it's visible there, I think it might be, but this is a slinger wheel design supposedly, so there is a metal ring that the trailing edge of the blade is attached to, so it would sling water up against the coils. There doesn't seem to be a drain hole in the tray. But anyway, we'll figure out more about this, and this is the 1967 Friedrich. Thanks everybody for watching.